Hello friends, welcome to the remainder of my predictions for NFL Week 11. Last night's game is in the books, and I was a wee bit off in calling a big Seahawks win, but they did scrape through by 7. So let's have a look at what's in store for the rest of the week. First up, we have the still unbeaten Steelers going up to face the hapless Jaguars. I suppose going down, because it's, in Florida, but still. A 9-game win streak faces an 8-game losing streak, and let's be honest, it's really difficult to envision a scenario where these streaks actually end. Not in this game. It's the third time in NFL history where teams on streaks of these lengths have faced each other, and on both prior occasions, the team with the win streak won the game by at least 15 points. And you have to assume this is going to continue. As such, I'm taking the Steelers by 21. Next up are the Eagles, narrowly holding on to the NFC East lead, despite a loss to the Giants last week, taking on the Browns. I know I've suggested that both the Rams and the 49ers are having very up and down seasons, but I think the biggest contender for that crown has to be the Browns. If they do not score points in buckets, they hardly score at all. They've played 9 games this year. They've scored more than 30 or less than 10. There's no middle ground. The Eagles actually haven't lost to the Browns since 1994, but this year's Eagles are not equal to Eagles teams of the last 25 years. So I am going with the Browns by 11. Up next, the Battle of Ineptitude, as the porous Texans defence faces the very much stuttering Patriots offence. The Texans are on pace to allow the most rushing yards per game in NFL history. And the one thing the Patriots have done pretty well so far this year is run the ball. So, on paper at least, this game's pretty straightforward. But we all know the Patriots are very capable of springing a surprise, either positive or negative. Both teams are going to be missing sizable pieces from their offenses. David Johnson out for the Texans still, and Julian Edelman still out for the Patriots. On the balance of things, I would expect the Patriots to come out with the win here. I'm going to go with them by 9. The NFC South Falcons-Saints rivalry faces another chapter. Raheem Morris for the Falcons seems to have them moving very much in the right direction, with 3 wins in their 4 games since he took over as head coach. And let's not forget, if it wasn't for Todd Gurley being a bit of a screw-up, it would be 4-4. The Saints are trending upwards as well, for the most part. Goodbye Drew Brees, it's nice knowing you. Biggest question in the match is pretty obviously, how well will the prodigal child Jameis Winston fare in his first start for the Saints? Like I say, Drew Brees missing at least 2 weeks by the looks of it, with broken ribs and a punctured lung. So it does seem, for the time being, that the Saints' $1 million flutter on famous Jameis might have a chance of paying off. But which version are we going to see? Are we going to see 5,000 yards, 30 touchdown Jameis Winston from last year? Or are we going to see 30 turnover Jameis Winston from last year? A little strange start for this game. Alvin Kamara, great player, right? Yeah, pretty sure you'll all agree with that. 6 games against the Falcons, has never scored a touchdown. I reckon he's got a good chance to change that. I reckon the Saints are going to have a lot of chances to score. The Falcons probably will as well. But the Saints will probably have more chances, given that they actually have some semblance of defence. And I predict they are going to win by 10. We've got a strange game next. 2 teams, both with 2 wins, but both probably playing a little better than their records would suggest. And it's another one that I think, well, it's one that I really think is going to be very difficult to predict. Bengals travelling to Washington. The football team have actually been the best pass defence in the league. Gonna let that sink in for a moment. They're allowing less than 200 yards passing per game. Blows my mind a little bit. Yeah, strange start for this game as well. Since the NFL merger in 1970, the incumbent number 1 draft pick has faced the incumbent number 2 draft pick 21 times. The number 1 draft pick has won only 7 out of those 21 games. That in mind, I'm actually going to do the unthinkable, and I'm going to go with the football team this week. By 5. You know, just to tighten the NFC East even further. We have a rematch from last year's divisional round and a battle of identical records as the Titans take on the Ravens. Obviously, the Titans dominated in that game last year with a massive performance from Derrick Henry. They rode him to that win. And for whatever reason, 2020 Lamar Jackson is not the same player as 2019 Lamar Jackson was. However, John Harbaugh has been in this position before. Many times. 6 times, in fact. He has faced the team who put the Ravens out of the playoffs, like I say, 6 times. And he has won 5 of them. And you can expect this to be a very close game, I think. Home advantage probably being the kicker. Ravens by 6. Moving on to the Big Cat Battle. The Panthers host the Lions. Both teams have been pretty strong on offense this year. The Panthers are, along with the Seahawks, one of only 2 teams with 2 players inside the top 10 for receiving yards. And the Lions are one of only 5 who have scored more than 20 points in every game this year. This is predicted to be a very close game, actually. I think the over-under is at 1.5 for the Panthers. I'm having a lot of trouble splitting the teams here. I really am. Teddy Bridgewater is out for Carolina, so XFL stalwart PJ Walker is in. However, we all know, without Cam Phillips, who, I may add, the Panthers did sign in pre-season but released, without Cam Phillips, PJ Walker is nothing. Nothing. And I'm going to give the Lions the edge, based on that fact alone. Probably on another game-winning Stafford drive, to be fair. Lions by 3. We're moving into the early evening games now. And it's time to talk about the Jets as they face the Chargers in LA. Coming off the back of the best result of the season. By which I of course mean they were on their bye week and they didn't lose for the first time all year. In all honesty, this is probably their last chance to get into the win column this year, as their schedule takes a pretty tough turn, with games against the Dolphins, Raiders, Seahawks and Rams for the next 4. On the Chargers side of the ball, Justin Herbert is the first quarterback in NFL history with a passer rating over 100 and less than 2 wins. If he could get just a wee bit of help from his teammates, I'm sure he'd be pretty appreciative. That said, you have to go with the Chargers though, really, don't you? I mean, it's the Jets. I'm going to take the Chargers by 12. And I'm going to move on to the next game. My lovely playoff-bound Dolphins up against the Broncos. Now, Tua Tagovailoa has the 3rd highest passer rating for a rookie quarterback in NFL history at 104.8. And I can only see this improving against a pretty porous Denver defense, stripped of most of its defensive talent. The Broncos have allowed more than 30 points in 4 consecutive games for the first time in over 50 years. Miami's free agent strategy is really paying off in a huge way in terms of defense. We've gone from dead last defensively last year to the 5th best defense this season. Top fantasy tip of the week. Pick up the Miami defense if you haven't already. If they're available in your league, get them. The Broncos have turned the ball over 21 times this season, and the Dolphins have been picking up turnovers the last few weeks like crazy. So, get into that while it's available. All of those spell a pretty big win for the Dolphins this week, and I'm taking us by 16. The tale of two very different running backs as the Cowboys take on the Vikings. Ezekiel Elliott has had career lows in every single one of these categories. Carries per game, yards per carry, and it stands to reason, rushing yards per game, and also scrimmage yards per game. Dalvin Cook, on the other hand, has career highs for the season in every single one of those statistics. Now, Andy Dalton should be back for the Cowboys, so I'd probably put the two teams roughly even in terms of strength of passing game, meaning the running game is going to be the deciding factor, and you have to ride the hot hand when you're predicting this game. Taking the Vikings to continue their post-bye week hot streak and win by 8. Packers taking on the Colts to close out the early evening games. Now, a lot of factors at play here. The Packers have been well in the top half of the league in terms of attack and defense, 8th and 9th respectively. And the Colts are 17th in attack, which, just into the bottom half of the league, but not too bad. But they are the number 1 defense. Packers are not allowing sacks, giving Aaron Rodgers plenty of time in the pocket to throw passes, and I think it's probably going to be crucial in this one. I wouldn't expect a massive score being run up here, despite the Packers' general offensive abilities. But I will predict a Packers win all the same, by 6. Moving on to the night game. It's a very intriguing one. It's a rematch from Week 5, where the Chiefs lost to the Raiders. They're going to be definitely looking for revenge here. Patrick Mahomes had a pretty lackluster performance through his only interception so far this year. 25-1 touchdown to interception ratio is the best ratio in NFL history. The Raiders have actually won their last 3 games, and it's only the second time they've been able to do that under John Gruden. But, yeah, I think this game could go either way. I think if the Raiders can withstand an early onslaught, which I reckon the Chiefs will provide coming off their bye week, I reckon it could be a very close one and could go either way. But I reckon if the Chiefs go ahead early, they'll probably win quite comfortably. I'm going to suggest that's probably going to happen. I'm going to take the Chiefs by 13. And finalement, Monday Night Football this week. Pretty tantalising affair. We have the Rams facing the Buccaneers. Now, the Rams are not scoring huge numbers of points, but they're also not allowing that many either. Tom Brady is the only quarterback Aaron Donald has faced multiple times and has never sacked. Might change. Reckon we're probably in for a change here. Probably going to be a very low scoring game, actually. Unlike last year's 55-40 scorigami win for the Buccaneers. And I'm going to take the Rams to edge it by 2. And Jared Goff to finally get revenge on Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski for Super Bowl 53. And that is going to do it for this week. As always, thank you very much for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. And if you want more of the same, just hit the subscribe button and you'll get little notifications as to when I put videos up. Both of these things really help my channel grow, and they're appreciated more than you'd even realise. But until next time, bye for now. Oh, Jesus Christ, what a mess I've created. I'm going to be late for work now. What a twat.